Hello everyone. Welcome to our webinar. This session will be recorded for the people who were not able to attend this time, but definitely want to check our story. Feel free to address questions during the presentation in the chat, or just note them down for our Q&A section at the end of the presentation. Let me begin with the alarming part. We're seeing more and more cases where personal data is exposed or stolen because proper security measures weren't implemented. These incidents clearly show that without strict rules, many companies tend to neglect data protection. Here are a few recent examples. In the Netherlands, data belonging to roughly 750,000 people were stolen. The initial report mentioned 500,000, but later investigations confirmed a higher number. The stolen information included names, social security numbers, and other sensitive details. There have also been cases in Sweden, in Belgium, involving Orange, and in France. And these examples all occurred with just the last 2 or 3 months. In other words, this is happening frequently and is not slowing down. Before jumping in the subject of today's webinar, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Mihai Nagoe. I'm Operations Manager at Wayfare. I'm involved mostly in modernization projects and keeping an eye on new tools and development techniques. And today I have together with me Răzvan. Răzvan, do you want to say a couple of words about yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Răzvan Ștețcu, Senior Software Developer at Wayfare. I worked on the AI integration for the tool that you'll see today. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Răzvan. Now a couple of words about Wayfare. We're a company based in Romania, specifically in Cluj-Napoca, which has the highest percentage of IT specialists per capita in Romania. And we've operating since 2012. We offer a range of software services, including modernization, new product development, quality assurance, and UI UX and application design. We work closely with our partners and focus heavily on knowledge sharing. Collaboration is essential to us and is the foundation for the long-term relationships we build with our clients. Our core expertise is centered around Progress OpenEdge, complemented by strong experience in both web and mobile technologies. We're going to keep the agenda as light as possible and focus more on the demo side, but we'll do a short recap on GDPR, an introduction on DBlur features, and then the AI part, the integration with the OpenAI API. Let's start with the GDPR part. GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulation from the European Union and is the regulation which defines the rules to protect how personal data is collected, stored, and shared across the EU, and affects every organization that handles personal information. In this context, companies should protect personal data from exposure and misuse. Then limit the access to the data to the people who need to access it. And one way to achieve this compliance is to use anonymization and pseudonymization when processing data outside production environment. And finally, you should avoid transferring identifiable data to test or development environments. The GDPR has been enforced since May 2018, and as with any enforced regulation, there are authorities continuously monitoring compliance. These authorities can issue fines to the organizations that violate the rules. When you add up all the penalties imposed so far, the total exceeds 5.65 billion, a truly significant amount. GDPR in software development. Why it matters? Software design has a direct impact on how safely personal data is processed and protected. These are some key principles applied to development. Embed data protection by design and by default, restrict access and visibility of personal data in tools and environments, ensure every data processing action follows the controller's documented instructions, and build systems with integrity, confidentiality, and data minimization at the core. When you look more closely at the regulation, there are no articles that explicitly state you cannot use production data in test or non-production environments. However, several articles clearly imply this. I'm not going through all the articles, but if you look at the last one, this is the guideline published by the European Data Protection Board. This is a fairly extensive document, but throughout it, anonymization is repeatedly highlighted as a key method for ensuring GDPR compliance. GDPR and privacy regulations restrict what you can do. And then you have the modern data dilemma. Synthetic data often fails to reflect real-world behavior. Any data leak or misuse carries significant risk. Manual anonymization is slow, inconsistent, and prone to errors. This leaves you choosing between security and realism. And here is where DBlur may fill the gap. What makes DBlur different is that it natively understands the Progress database. That's a unique feature. This is a key advantage. It works directly with your existing database schema without requiring any changes. Anonymization happens during the export process, so the original data never leaves the production database in identifiable form. The data is anonymized as it's exported into the test environment, and the process is really fast. You don't need to rewrite code or modify the setup. DBlur runs as it is. And now about anonymization. There is a bit of confusion regarding anonymization and masking. Both are useful in the context of data security, but are two different concepts. Anonymization is a process that irreversibly removes any possibility of identifying a person from the data. So the data cannot be reversed. Data is no longer considered personal data under GDPR, and it's suitable for testing, analytics, AI training, or sharing with third parties. One example here is replacing a name with a random generated unrelated value. Can be something like this, or can anonymize John Smith with Patrick Smith or something else. The goal is to permanently remove the identity. Masking, on the other hand, it's a technique that hides or obfuscates data, but often in a reversible or partially reversible way. Here are some key characteristics. May be reversible depending on the method. It's still considered personal data under GDPR if the original data can be restored or relinked. Typically is used for UI, display, logging, or limiting visibility to certain roles. So in our example, we have John Smith becoming JS with some asterisks there. Another example would be masking of credit card information. The goal is to limit visibility and not permanently destroy the identity. And here we have one representation of a development or test database. It's nice and quite empty. Developers need to create their own test data and to maintain it. And this is another representation of the development or test database in relation with the production database. Can you spot the difference? If not, it's because both contain the same data, and development database is a copy of production database. These are the two most encountered scenarios in real applications, and this is the problem DBlur wants to solve. During our research, we saw that these are the 4 rules that we can use in anonymizing data. Of course, there can be more, but these are the major 4 rules that apply for the majority of the fields that we have in the database. So we have a random rule, data type, character, integer, decimal. We can have a random name taken from a dictionary, a random address, and so on. We have fixed rules when you want to use a given value. Compose rules used mostly for emails, where we want to anonymize data to be used in a format like first name dot last name at provider.com. Encrypted rules used for, well, encryption. Here we have some of the features of DBlur. We can run separate threads of anonymization by keeping track of the relation between the tables. The configurations is set in XML files where user can define the behavior for each field. We use dictionaries for names, addresses, and other data. And the part that Razvan is going to focus on, using AI to enhance user experience on the configuration part. Here are some results. One of our customers wanted to export the anonymized data from production to test environment during the night. So the maximum time frame was set for 12 hours, but we targeted around 8 to 10 hours. DBlur managed to anonymize 700 plus gigabytes database in just 5 hours. Of course, this number is related to the database size, but also to the number of tables and fields that needed to be anonymized. Okay, DBlur adds value for developers and testers by having real data in dev and test environment, something that can be used for real-life scenarios. For security team and managers, we see the value of increased security and GDPR compliance. And the data analysts can use the anonymized data for reports and for training. And let's jump to the AI part. We're going to use OpenAI Responses API. The Responses API is a new API primitive, an evolution of chat completions, which brings added simplicity and powerful agentic primitives to the integrations. While chat completions remain supported, Responses API is recommended for all new projects, and we wanted to upgrade our previous implementations as well. The Responses API is a unified interface for building powerful agent-like applications. It contains building tools like web search, file search, computer use, code interpreter, remote MCPs, and so on. Seamless multi-turn interactions that allow you to pass previous responses for higher accuracy reasoning results, and have native multimodal support for text and images. The Responses API contains several benefits over chat completions. It has a better performance using reasoning models like GPT-5 with responses. Responses will result in a better model intelligence when compared to chat completions. OpenAI internal evaluations reveal 3% improvement with same prompt and setup. It's agentic by default. The Responses API is an agentic loop, allowing the model to call multiple tools like web search, image generation, file search, and so on. Has a lower cost. Also, the results due to improved cache utilization mention 40 to 80% improvement when compared to chat completion in internal tests. Stateful context, you store true to maintain state from turn to turn, preserving reasoning and tool context in this approach. Flexible inputs, pass a string with input or list of messages, use instructions for system level guidance. Encrypted reasoning, opt out of statefulness while still benefiting from advanced reasoning, and is future proof for upcoming models. And here is a short visual representation on the differences between chat completions API and Responses API. And you can see how this functionality evolved. Okay, we're going to jump into the demo part. Let's see how DBlur works in a test environment. So this is how DBlur looks. This is I have a list with some of the projects I'm working on, and let's see how it works, and then we'll go into some of the details on the implementation. So I'm going to take an example. We presented also at POG in Valencia this year. This is a screen from a setup for Sports 2000. Sports 2000 is a Progress sample database. And here, what I can do is I can add different type of rules. Like we saw, we can have different rule types like random, compose, encrypt, and so on. I can have simple rules like a random character, something like that. I can just put a rule code, the type, the source type. I can have a DB table, a file, a data type, or an enumeration. And I can have different other options in my rule. Like for example, for a passport number, I want to have a mask and look something like 2 digits and 4 letters. That's an example. Um, Similar, I can have a rule like a telephone. I can use a mask to provide the format of that phone number in a different location. And I can have some more complex rules like an address. Here I can stop a random file. The information comes from a dictionary. I put the source, and in the source I need to map these source fields to the information in the database I want to show. This looks something like this. This is my dictionary, so I can have a dictionary with different formats. And in this dictionary, with this dictionary, I can create my own rule to map the information. I have to specify the type of data that is in the file, and I can have some other types like value, range to add on. And I can put something like uh, rule maps to have search fields on state and return the state name from this search field. Okay. Also for dates, yeah, I can have a random date. I can give an interval for that random date, but I can put some other type of rules like keep age, keep year, keep month, and so on. So these are the rules. What we have in DBlur, we can export the rules from project to another, and most of the times we saw that the rules reapply on different projects as well. Then I have the relations, of course, between my tables in my database. I have different type of relations, and I can add them here. And then it is the part where I set which fields I want to anonymize. And here are some examples, like I want to anonymize the city, the name, the phone. Yeah, for the phone, I can put, for example, the table name. I can choose what field I want to anonymize. This is dynamically loaded. And in the lower part, I can set which type of rule I can add for my field. And here I have a multi-fields anonymization rule. This one is going to use a free format, and here I can map the information that I receive in my dictionary to actual fields that I want to anonymize. So the rule that I'm setting here is address. You saw this one. The information from the dictionary goes into these fields. Can have email, address, a composition, between name and city in this case. I can have something like compose rule, actually a multiple rule. For the first name, I can put a condition like based on the gender. If condition is F, then I'm going to take the name from a female dictionary name, or I can take the information from a male dictionary. And I have some other information here, other fields that I want to anonymize. How the system works, just press on anonymize data, select the table you want to anonymize, and start anonymization. You can select one table or multiple tables. And I have information that my data anonymization is ready. If there are errors, are going to be pop out on the screen. I have a log file. This is my latest log file. Here I have all the information on what happened to my anonymization process. So I'm loading the information from this input directory, dictionaries for the rules, first name, female, for last name, start anonymization. and then I have all this information about the tables that were generated. Everything looks fine. So I can go to my output folder, and in my output folder, even though I selected only the employee, I see more tables that were generated. And that is because in my relations, I do have relations between employee and some other tables. And the system knows this, and to keep the link between the tables, uh, I will have not only the employee generated anonymized, but also the other related tables. And we can see what the actual anonymization looks like. I have generated on the right. This is the production information. I generated the information from Sports 2000 database without any anonymization. And on the left side, I have what the anonymization looks like. So I can see first I have the employee number. It's a new employee number generated. I have a new name, a new name from the dictionary in this case, uh, and some other fields which are anonymized. Yeah, I can see the phone number, keeping the format. I can see also the address being anonymized in this part, and all the other information, the dates, keeping the year or keeping the uh, age and so on. Okay, this is what happened for the employee table. Okay, let's see on the family. Okay, so I can see that in my first case, I have a random character here, and I think it's a keep year here. Yeah, generated also for the family table. Okay, and let me show you how the configuration file looks like. And as I mentioned, all the information for this project is kept in an XML file. This XML file has all the information. The UI is more of a tool to support the creation of this XML. So I have the ID for my project. I have the engine type, and I'm going to show you another engine type in a moment. Here I have all the relations between all my tables, and then I have all the anonymized fields with orders and the anonymized rule that I want to add for this type of field. Okay, random tagger. I have all the fields in here, and here I have all the rules that are in my project. So this is the setup, and here I can see also the dictionaries with the names, for male first names, for last names, and so on. Okay, and let me show you for MySQL. That's another example. We support different SQL type of databases. As you can see, the rules for MySQL, we have Sakila as the test database, demo database for MySQL. The main difference, of course, between the two databases are the data types. In Progress, I have character, I have integer, and so on. Here I have varchar, I have int, and some others which are similar. They look similar. They're just slightly with slight differences. The good part in MySQL is that the relation between the tables is stored in the database. So here, if I want to add a new relation, I see I have only one table that I can choose from because the others are already imported. So I can choose just what I need here. Okay, and manage fields, similar. Yeah, I have Sakila with different setup. Okay, and let me just do a short introduction on what you're going to see on Rozvan's part. I'm going to create a new project. Let's say AI sample MySQL project folder. Let's say where we're going to put this one. We'll take here. Okay, I'm going to create a new folder. Say AI sample. Okay. Database engine, I can choose from different database engine, Oracle, MySQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQLite, and Progress. I'm going to use MySQL. I'm going to use Aquila on my local host. I tested this before, so it should work. Okay, I have a test connection. This will try the connection to my database. I see the connection is successful, and I created my project. And here, after the load of my project, here it creates all the folders that I need for. I already exported from one of other projects my rules, so I'm just going to import them. As I mentioned, the rules are pretty much the same on all the projects. On the relations, here I have all the relations that I can create, all the links. I'm not interested in this right now. What I want to show you is this magic button on the anonymization part. I suggest fields, and if AI has a good day and is not very loaded, it's going to return um, all the fields that I need to anonymize. What we actually do, we take the database schema from Sakila in this case. We extend all the prompt to with GDPR rules and with the examples, with our rules that we set, and AI should know what tables to select, which are the fields. So I can just select the first name, the last name, and it proposes also the rule that I should apply. Address, and random state, telephone, and so on. Okay. I can select all of them if I like them. Okay. So I have all the information here. I don't need location, for example. I can delete on the phone. Let's see, yeah, email. So I see all the information is already in here. So I'm going to just anonymize the data. Let's select one, no, actor, and anonymize. And the system is going to raise an error, of course, because I don't have the dictionaries that I've set in my previous project. So what I'm going to do is just go on my other project and copy the dictionaries that I want to use. I have my AI sample project. Use the dictionaries and try again. Okay, it's taking a bit longer. And my data anonymization is ready. So I'm in my project AI sample, and in the output, I should see my exported my exported data with anonymized data. So this is the idea of having instead of having the configuration file set up, and that can take some time if you don't really know the database schema. In just a couple of clicks, you can just import the rules, add the relations if you want to make the link between the tables, and then the AI should suggest the fields that need to be anonymized and propose the rules. Of course, it's not finished. Some of the rules I may need to adjust, maybe use some compose or add a different dictionary, but the base is already there. Okay, and now I'm going to pass the demo to Razvan, who is going to show us a bit what's behind the scenes of this AI suggest fields functionality.
Okay, so let me share my screen. So in order to integrate AI in our project, we used OpenAI platform. This is a cloud-based environment that is offering tools and APIs that enable developers to incorporate AI models into their apps. For those who watched our previous webinar, maybe OpenAI looks now a bit familiar, but if not, don't worry, it's not that complicated to use. So as Mihai mentioned, in our last presentation, we used Chat Completions API, but now OpenAI has a new version called Responses. This comes with many benefits, and along with it, it's file search, MCP servers, image generation, and so on. But for today, we will use just text generation and structure outputs. If we're checking the documentation for Responses API, we can see here that Responses is OpenAI's most advanced interface for generating model responses. And in order to create a model response, we will need to do a post request to api.openai.com/v1/responses with some properties. And this example that we have here, it's used the OpenAI SDK in JavaScript, but you can also use with curl or like Python and S#. And here in this example, two property, the most important ones are modal. In this case, it's used GPT 4.1 and an input. Through the input, we are telling to the model what do we need to generate for us. In this case, it was a bedtime story. And the OpenAI will return a response back. It will have a status. It will have an error if some error has been generated, and it will have an output. In this output, as we can see, we have a text here, and this is the actual story that has been generated. Of course, based on the issue that we try to resolve, or based on the project, we can have here in the request body, we can have a lot of properties. But for now, we will just try to keep this as simple as possible for webinar, and we will use just modal and input. Let's see our app pretty quick. As Mihai mentioned, I also have here a connection to Sports 2000 database from Progress. And I already imported the rules. I have here like the generic rules for address, for date, department, etc. And now I need to pair all my fields with the rules. I will not do this manually in the beginning because nowadays we have AI. And I will just use this magic button, let's say. And this will generate me some suggestions. So how this is working, as Mihai mentioned, we're sending the database schema along with the rules that we created and a prompt. And AI is answering with the suggested fields for anonymization. As we can see here, we have employee number and the rule code was integer key. This looks pretty good. For address field, it used the rule code of address. For address to the same. For name, it uses the rule code name. So it's hard to go to, if you have like 200 or 300 tables in your database, it's hard in the beginning to just go through all of them and pair them. It takes a lot of time. So this is why you can now start using an AI tool that will give you a very big start and maybe will take you like 50% of workload from your back. And if I'm just selecting all the rules, and now I have everything set up. And yes, of course, because AI is hallucinating sometime, you cannot trust it 100%. So yes, of course, you need to check everything if it's in place, if nothing is missing, and if everything it's fine. So how this was implemented? We created here a project in Node.js. We are using Express framework because it's pretty light, and we are using OpenAI SDK. Here in this node projects, I created an endpoint / AI suggestions. This is called by DBlur application, and it's getting the database schema and the rules. First step is to build the AI prompt. And here we can see how the prompt is actually built. We are giving a bit of context to the AI. And we are saying something that, okay, you are a GDPR-aware data anonymization assistant. Given the database schema and the rules, return a JSON object with all the table and fields that should be anonymized based on GDPR compliance. We are appending here the schema, we are appending the rules, and we are appending some examples. Because what these examples are, we are just giving some examples that were generated previously from DBlur, and we are doing this to give to the AI a bigger context. So we have here like a field name, last name, and the rule code that has been applied. For a field name of birthday, we applied date, keep year, so and so on. For department code, for example, we have applied the rule code department, and so on. The idea is to give to the AI as much context as possible, so it will give you a good result. After we build the AI prompt, we are making the client.responses.create to create an OpenAI response. We are choosing the model. In this case, we use GPT 4.1 mini because it's a bit faster, but recommended is to use the latest GPTs. So in this case, GPT-5 mini is more used in production, but it takes like 2 or 3 minutes, and that's why we didn't use it for demo purposes. And also I have the input here, and an important part is this text format. Because we don't want to receive a string, just a simple text from the AI, we wanted the result to be a JSON schema in order to fill that schema into the view that you saw here into this page. And I created this response format. And how is this looking? We're actually telling to the model that we need to have an object results of type array. Inside these results, we need to have some properties with table name and fields. Inside the fields, we need to have, of course, a field name of type string and some anonymization rules. And inside the anonymization rules, we need the actual rule codes. All of this in place, we're sending to the OpenAI and we're getting a response. And this response, we are sending it back to the DBlur app. Also, I have here some commented code. What we were trying in the beginning, it was we created a vector store. And in this vector store, we added a PDF about anonymization. But because OpenAI and GPTs in general has a lot of knowledge about anonymization and GDPR rules, this didn't get us a lot of benefit from it. So it's good to use if you have some PDF about your compliance, or I don't know, some other information that is not available on the internet, but you want AI to use them, helping with the response. And we can check pretty quick the DBlur app. Here we have just a handle. This is the function that is attached to the button, and it's making a request to my node application, to our node application, and the response that is coming here, we are putting into the view. And this is what we get. Also, another example that I wanted to show, I have here another connection to a database. This is a bigger database, 200 to 300 tables, I think. But the most interesting part is that this database also contains fields in Dutch. And if I'm trying to, but let's see a bit with inspect to see the database. We have here some object and some tables. And if I'm opening up some tables, you can see I have, okay, yeah, 689 tables here. And some of them have Dutch naming, and the columns inside are also a lot of them in Dutch. And the important part is that AI doesn't care about the language that you're sending the data in, because the models are language agnostic. So they are based more about, they are working more on the meaning part. We're waiting a bit because this is a very large schema. So of course the AI will take a bit longer to process all this data. But in a few seconds, we will see the results. If nothing crashed, of course. Let's check a bit the terminals. So far is looking okay. One moment. Okay, so we have the results. So we have here, okay, I'm not very good in Dutch, so I don't know Dutch, so I'm sorry for my spelling. We have this table Akland here. And as we can see, the field name was found, and it applied the rule code of name. So this looks pretty good, besides the fact that name is in Dutch. Also, we have here strat, and the rule code applied was address. This strat means street in Dutch. So everything works as expected. We can also have here like databases with the field name in Chinese or any other language, and the result will be the same because they have the same meaning. So this was my part. Thank you. So I think now it's Q&A. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Razvan. If there are questions from your side on the GDPR part, anonymization, DBlur, or on the AI implementation? Yeah, we have one question here. What if a database schema is very abstract with name fields like ABC or something else? Razvan, can you pick this one up?
Yes. So if the tables, can you, yeah, okay. If the tables are abstract, then you need to tell the AI what those fields are about. In some Progress database, you have these labels that are usually on the table level or on the field level. If you have those labels explaining what the fields are doing, then that's fine. The models will pick up that information and will know exactly what you are keeping in those fields. If you don't have that, then another idea will be to probably to create a document describing a bit every table and what they are holding it inside. And then you can give that the document in the AI prompt. And of course, the model will know exactly what every field will do. So it will give good results. If you don't have any information about what those fields are, I think the results will not be as expected. I hope this answered the question.
Okay, maybe another question would be if you can use that document in the vector store that you mentioned, or send it as in the prompt. the document describing what the tables are?
I would not put it in a vector store because usually in a vector store it's good to use if you have a lot of information, but you don't need all of them. You just need like some piece of information per prompt. But in our case, the AI must know about all this document because it will use all the database structure to manage to get the response of which fields to anonymize. So I will basically send this into the input, not giving the vector store. In the vector store, it will become in chunks, and it will try to fetch only the relevant chunks. But in our case, there is no number of relevant chunks because all the documents should be valuable, let's say.
Okay, thank you, Rizwan. Other questions?
I have one.
Shoot, Adam.
Okay, so you mentioned that the AI can also return aberrations sometimes, and you have to check those. How hard it is to check constantly those results returned by the OpenAI? So does it take like a long time because yeah, you rely on an AI, but also you would like things to go faster and not waste time checking all the time the returned results.
Okay, thank you for the question, Adam. Maybe just a short update from our testing. So in our DBlur approach, at least, what AI can hallucinate is actually only on the different rules that it proposes or different fields that may or not be GDPR compliant, but not actually using let's say the fields from the schema. So it's not going to hallucinate in the way of returning a non-usable output. It's just an output that can be truncated or can have a larger scope that what we expect, or to mismatch the rule codes. And here as well, maybe you can add more.
I mean, I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly because it was something about the waiting time. If you can
Not
say
really
again.
waiting time. It's more like the hallucination related to hallucination and AI agent. So if you have to check the results, but Mihai answered correctly, so I have the answer.
Yes, of course. Based on this hallucination, okay, you cannot trust the AI 100%. You need to check all the time if what it was generated is actually good. Because of course this is the same of when you use like ChatGPT, for example. You're asking something, but what is generating the response that is given to you may be true or maybe not true. Maybe it's not true. So you need to check all the time. But at some degree, the response contains also good parts.
Okay, thank you for the question, Adam. Are there any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, feel free to reach us by email or by our website to clarify more of the things that weren't addressed in this webinar. Thank you for attending and looking forward to seeing you on our next webinar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.